Good morning, San Diego. This is Real Estate Exposed with Dan Beer from the Dan Beer Group and Windermere Homes and Estates, and Todd Pianin from Samuel Scott Financial Group. We are live this morning, and we'll love to take your calls. You can reach us at 1-800-600-KOGO, or after the show, you can give us a call at 858-375-2020. You can also leave questions live for us on our Facebook page at Facebook.com/Real Estate Exposed, Dan and Todd. So I'm going to jump right in this morning and sort of talk about what's going on in the mortgage market and what's been happening. Just this week, as a matter of fact, I had 3 transactions that were with other lenders. And with these other lenders, the clients weren't upfront and honest from the beginning to their existing lender. And so what ended up happening was when, lenders are getting more and more, the banks are getting smarter and smarter, and they're asking for more and more information. And as they ask for more and more information, they stumbled upon things that the buyer was trying not to keep public. And what happened in this situation, in all 3 situations, is as they kept finding more and more stuff out, the deal kept changing and changing and changing and changing. So what I'm saying to you folks out there is that, you want to pretty much tell your mortgage lender, whoever you're using, whether you're using myself or using somebody else, that you want to be able to give them all the information up front, because their goal is to get your loan approved. And one of these clients has been in escrow for 55 days, 25 days past their close date. The seller has already bought another house. That seller had already bought another house. So it's like a domino effect. So all of a sudden, we have all these families that are having issues and having problems because the first leg of the transaction, I would say, couldn't get closed. So you want to make sure that you tell everybody everything up front. That's the most important thing out there. When you're talking to your real estate agent, when you're talking to your mortgage banker/broker, you want to make sure that you're giving them all the information. On these 3 transactions, fortunately, Samuel Scott Financial Group, we got all the information, and we're able to get all 3 of these deals closed, and we're going to make lots of happy sellers and happy buyers, and make sure things move forward. But you want to make sure, again, that you're telling everybody the truth, and you want to make sure that, think of them almost as your lawyer. Like, we don't share that information with other people. We have a fiduciary responsibility as mortgage lenders not to share your personal information, even with your realtor if you ask us not to. So we want to make sure that you're not doing that. That's the one thing I want to kind of press this morning, is make sure that you're always telling everybody the truth. The second thing let's talk about is what's happening in the world of interest rates. I know that interest rates have, Dan and I have talked in recent weeks that we're concerned that interest rates are going up, they're going down, they're going sideways. Right now, they're all over the place. So right now, they've actually still stayed low. They've still stayed down. And we see that, I would say over the next several weeks and several months, we're going to see some volatility. And at some point, we are going to see interest rates start to go up. So, good news. Looks like we have a call from Ron in La Mesa. Let's take Ron's call. Ron, you there? Oh, hold on one sec. Oh, no. No call. Oh, here we go, Ron. Hi, Ron. You there? Good morning. You're on with Real Estate Exposed with Dan and Todd.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Okay, so I'm trying to get a loan right now, and they're asking for all of my tax returns, all my personal information, and I have to get it all into them before they could even tell me if I get this loan or not. And I'm just trying to figure out if this is normal. Is there an easier way?
There's not an easier way right now in this marketplace, and what you want to do is you want to be completely upfront, Ron, with your lender, and you want to give them your tax returns, you want to give them your bank statements, you want to give them everything you possibly can so they can make sure that you're going to have a quick and easy process getting your house approved and no surprises. Back in the day, there used to be programs out there where you didn't have to give your tax returns. They could do it just based off of your credit score or the cash in the bank. But we don't have those programs anymore. What we do have, though, is that we do have programs coming out that basically, once we get an electronic approval from you, we may not need 2 years tax returns. We may not need all the information that we're getting. Lenders are actually starting to get easier. So we may only need just your W-2s and your pay stubs. I would say we're probably about 30 to 60 days away from, getting back to that kind of world, which we're excited about. But right now, you want to give them everything.
It's a lot of stuff.
It is a lot of stuff. I know it's a lot of stuff, but what lenders can do is they can go directly to your CPA or your accountant, and they can ask for those copies, and they can get that for you pretty easily and pretty quickly, and they can make the right decision. You want to make sure you're giving them all the proper information up front.
Thanks.
Thanks for the call, Ron. Have a great morning and have a great Sunday. Talk to you soon, okay? So we're back here with Real Estate Exposed and my partner, Dan Beer. How are you this morning, Dan?
Oh, I'm doing good, Todd. I'm doing good. So, yeah, people don't like to hand over all their information.
No, they don't like to hand over
but they have to do it.
Yes.
They have to do it. It's just critically important.
I mean, we've had situations in the past, Dan, on deals that you and I have worked on where things have popped up in the 11th hour, and fortunately for us, most of our, we've been able to kind of get those clients handled and get everything done and, get it all worked out. So that's been pretty exciting.
So do we see any possibility of those guidelines loosening anytime soon?
Yeah, we just got an announcement actually that we are going to start following on conforming loans, which conforming loans go up to 566. 350. We're going to start seeing some loosening up, meaning that we're going to be able to follow the electronic approvals. So don't know if you heard it earlier, Dan, but what I did say was that in some cases we may be able to just use the current W-2 and a current pay stub, which would be pretty cool for salaried employees if that's what comes up on the electronic findings.
So, Todd, here's a question for you then. When the market went to hell in a handbasket not long ago.
Yes.
Actually, you know what? I take that back. It feels like not long ago.
It does.
If you actually look at how far we've come, gosh, it's been 7 years since 2008.
Yes.
It's amazing. But when that happened, guidelines got really loose. Really, I mean, they actually became non-existent almost.
Before it happened.
Before it happened. Correct.
Yes.
That's a very important distinction. When it happened, we went completely the opposite direction. But before it happened, that's where we were. Is it fair to use loosening guidelines as a barometer of maybe where the market could be headed in the future if it gets too loose?
Yes, 100%. History repeats itself constantly over and over again, and we are seeing that in what's going on in the marketplace right now.
All right, excellent. Well, you're listening to Real Estate Exposed with Dan Beer and Todd Pianin, and this is News Radio 600 KOGO. We'll be right back. And you're listening to Real Estate Exposed with Dan Beer and Todd Pianin. And if you'd like to call in here, we are live in studio. The phone number is 800-600-KOGO. You can also connect with us off air anytime, 858-375-2020. And
don't forget to build up our Facebook likes, Dan.
Our Facebook likes, yeah, that darn Facebook that we just neglect. It's a very sad looking page right now, but we're going to build that thing up. If you want to help us get that thing built, why not? So go ahead, get on Facebook, Real Estate Exposed. So it's facebook.com/Real Estate Exposed. So Todd, the market right now is flying off the handles as far as speed.
Yeah,
and I ran across an interesting article, and I was pretty taken aback by how much this is true, not just here locally, but across the country, even though, not surprisingly, California is actually leading the way. So listen to this, okay? If you're a buyer out there, if you're thinking about buying, you're getting into that mode, you're trying to figure out what's the right time, or maybe you're already in the process, and you see a home, it's been on the market for 7 or 10 days, you figure it's early, you figure you could still go out and take a look at 3 or 4 others the following weekend, even though you really like the one you saw today, you might be making a really false assumption that'll have just a very sad effect. I mean, let's face it. A lot of us, you are probably buying a home to put your family into it, to live in it, to enjoy it, to see yourself there for the next 10 years. you're going to want to know what I'm about to share with you.
What is that? I can't wait.
So, in the United States, 36 of the 50 states are experiencing sales times of under 90 days. Okay, so homes are only staying on the market for up to 90 days, or under 90 days, I should say, in 36 of the 50 states. Okay?
So 36 of the 50 states, what you're saying, Dan, is that a home, if I list my home with you today, if I'm in one of these 36 states, it's probably sold and someone's moved into my home within 90 days.
It's going to be, yes, it's going to go pending. It's going to go under contract within 90 days. But if we drill down deeper into the data, we're here in California, so it might not be so relevant what's going on in Vermont.
What about Alaska?
Or in Alaska. But in California, homes are selling between 30 to 45 days. This is a statewide statistic, and I could tell you that it's mirrored here in San Diego. So with under 30 to 45 days, homes in California, Colorado, Hawaii, Louisiana, Nevada, North Dakota, Texas, and Washington, D.C., 30 days and then the home is gone.
Wait, so you're saying if I list my house with you today, today is April 19th because we're live here on KOGO 600 iHeartRadio, a little plug for them. Today is April 19th. You're saying that I could actually, statistics are showing that by May 19th, I'm going to have my house sold.
So that's the average amount of time.
Wow.
But if you really think about what that means that there's also homes selling in 5 days, in 3 days, in 4 days, in five, in a week, because this is the average. So for the average to be between 30 and 45 days,
right,
that's taking into account your nitwit neighbor that put his home on the market and kept it there for a year because he insisted on his home being worth that much more than everybody else on the block.
Like we talked about last week about putting your house at the right price.
So it takes into account that guy that's skewing the average.
Right.
Plenty of homes are selling in 1 day, 5 days, 7 days. It's like I tell.
But when you say sell, Dan, are you saying sell and close, or are you saying sell?
No. We're saying finding the buyer, going under contract.
Okay, so they're going under contract within 30 to 45 days. I'm actually not. So if I list my house with you today, within the next 30 or 45 days, I'm not moving out of my house. It's going to be in contract within 30 or 45
That's right. But from the perspective of the buyer, you're out looking for a house and you see the right one.
You should strike fast.
Listen, it's just logical. Okay, this is how we coach our buyers on my team. And we sit down and actually get all of their criteria. We find out what they want. We listen to them. We have them in the office. We really map out a plan. Then we go out and look at homes. And not surprisingly, we've listened to them.
Right.
They see a home they like.
But are they like bigger, better deal?
Well, they're just thinking, gosh, gee, it's early in the process and so on. And so I just simply ask you this question. If you're experiencing this yourself and you felt that, like, boy, I just saw the house I like, but it's only my first or second or third time out. Well, wouldn't you want to be shown the best homes first?
Of course you do.
Wouldn't it be a little bit odd if your agent kind of kept the good ones for later? I mean, wouldn't it be a little strange if you didn't see the good ones first?
But don't most realtors they don't know what I want. They don't know what I like.
Well, if you're working with the right person, they do and they should.
Like, how do you drill that down? How on the Dan Beer Group at Windermere Homes and Estates? How do you drill down?
Well, you sit down with your agent. You actually go through it. You map out a plan. You let them know what your family looks like, what you want to get out of the house, what kind of yard you want, what kind of neighborhood you want to be in. I mean, you should know what it is. But I'm just telling you out there that if you're a buyer and you've gone out and you've seen a home you like, you either strike on this thing, or statistics show, just like I just read to you, that in California, that home probably will not be around for over anywhere past 45 days if it's a good one and if it's properly marketed and properly priced. And it's probably not only you that thinks it's good.
So I have a question. So like, do you keep like inventory in your stable that people don't really know about? You know what I mean? Like what I mean by like off market, like do you? So
we don't do that purposefully.
Right.
But what we do is, because we have a lot of sellers that we represent, we're getting their homes prepared for market.
Right.
So, we don't just sign an agreement take some photos with our iPhone and then slap them on the computer, right? That's not. I mean, that actually does happen a lot out there, but it's not what we do. We have to get it properly placed, marketed, exposed. We have to, we put together our strategic plan and then implement that. So because of that, there are a certain amount of homes that we're holding. And holding might be the wrong word, but that we're preparing.
That you're prepping to get ready, but do you
exactly?
So do your buyers agents know about these homes before they come on the market?
Oh, absolutely.
So you can get for your pool of buyers, they actually get to see stuff. It may not look the prettiest, it may not be staged yet or picture perfect, but they're actually getting an opportunity to see
100%
product before it hits the market.
Plus, if you've gone through that consultation process with your agent and they understand exactly what you're looking for. Okay, we've talked about it on the show. Inventory's low.
Right, very low.
Okay, so if they understand what you're looking for, where you're looking, what floor plans you're interested in, what sizes, what your parameters are, that agent, if you have a real dedicated buying professional working for you, they're knocking on those doors. They're mailing into the community. They're calling into the community. They're working to actually create inventory that no one else is aware of because they're not just simply going onto the, seeing what's new on the computer that morning.
Dan, you always bring up like buyer specialist or seller specialist. I mean, if we have time, which I think we do have a couple minutes, what is it? Tell me different. I mean, to me, a realtor is a realtor is a realtor. Right. I mean, you can, any realtor can buy help me buy a home. Any realtor can help me sell my home. I mean, you always talk about specialists.
The industry is changing. The agent out there that's taking pride in doing it all, they do their own photos, they set their own appointments, and then they go and they do their own brochure, and they do, basically what I'm telling you is they do the work that should be leveraged to an admin, and they're also doing the really high level work that a true professional that you're entrusting a multi-$100,000 or possibly $1 million asset to, that they're focused on the most important aspects of getting your home sold. So guess what? When you sell your home with me,
right,
and I do act as the listing specialist for our team,
right.
No, I'm not going to be the one that schedules the photography. Because because me calling the photographer and getting on their calendar and matching it with yours, and why am I spending my time doing that rather than spending my time actively prospecting for your house, putting in place strategy, implementing it, making sure that every agent that with the relevant database is aware of your home, making sure that all of the people that we're attracting to the home are strategically funneled into what is going to be your grand opening and revealed to the world. Those are the things I should be doing.
So you're hunting for the buyers, you're getting the information out there. You're not spending your time on the admin stuff.
That's correct. Now, and if you've hired me to represent you as a seller, but I'm out for a 3-hour tour with a buyer, am I representing you as a seller?
No,
I'm not. I'm stuck in a car and I'm representing a buyer for those 3 hours.
Right.
So on our team, we have buyer specialists that simply their only job, the only thing they have in their world is to represent you. You're listening to Real Estate Exposed with Dan Beer and Todd Pian, and we're live here in studio. So if you were buying a home, you would be completely have the attention and focus of that buyer specialist. That allows him, because so much of his time is freed up without doing the other stuff that the rest of the team handles for them, that allows them to go and knock on doors and mail into neighborhoods and call into neighborhoods where they know you're focused and drum up inventory that is unique to you, because the rest of the marketplace, the other agents that are simply popping on the MLS and seeing what's new that morning, well, they're not going to see those.
So like in the past, when I bought a house and with a real estate agent, when they would just type in the MLS and they'd show me everything in my price range and they just drive me around the neighborhood, that's not what a specialist would do. I
might pay that guy $500. Just flat fee, $500. Show me what's on MLS. Pop me in your car, or give me an Uber budget. Give me an Uber gift
Uber
card,
deal.
and I'll go and we could pick that up on the other side of the break. This is Real Estate Exposed with Dan Beer and Todd Pianin. You're listening to News Radio 600 KOGO and iHeartRadio. They're leaving the anti-vaccine movement and coming right here to listen to our show on Real Estate Exposed. This is Dan and Todd at 600 News Radio 600 KOGO. And if you want to call us, we are live in studio. The number is 800-600-KOGO. Or you can also connect with us off air. That number is 858-375-2020. Again, that's 858-375-2020. We're available to you all week. And
so I have a question for you, Dan.
Yeah.
So I'm just
I was on a rant.
I'm just going to fire it off. So, this week was an important week for a lot of people because you know what it was? It was tax week. So a lot of people paid their taxes this week, and a lot of people had met with their CPAs, and their CPAs told them that they didn't have enough, tax breaks. And, one of the things that people don't realize is a major tax break in the market out there is I'm assuming home ownership.
Oh, man, and don't get me started on taxes. But yeah, absolutely. If you want to talk about how you could actually use real estate to your advantage in that realm, you definitely want to connect with us at 858-375-2020. And man, don't get me started on taxes, though, because, I was just actually talking to somebody. I was at a client's home, and we were talking about her quarterly estimated taxes she had to make, and I just got news of the ones I'm going to have to make, and my God, so it's really, I never had actually taken the time to digest how angering it was, and during this conversation, I became completely just outraged. You realize, if you have a corporation, the government makes you pay estimated quarterly taxes,
right?
And okay, so these are quarterly payments that you make. You have to actually send the government what you're estimating you're going to owe. You don't actually owe it yet, but you're estimating you're going to owe it.
That you may make the same amount of money you made in the previous years.
Correct.
Or more.
Correct, right? So it's typically based on, if you made the same amount, and
right.
You have to send them this money during the year instead of being able to hold your own money, invest your money the way you want to invest it, and then send it to them.
Right.
What just completely I mean, I don't know if I broke out in hives or not, but it felt like it was. It's unbelievable that our government penalizes you if you do not send them your quarterly estimated payments and give them your money to hold,
right,
on an interest-free loan,
right.
Instead of being able to hold it myself, invest wisely with my finance people, or make whatever investments I think are best.
Or buy real estate with it.
Buy a piece of real estate. I mean, I don't know, Todd. Do you think you could do better with your money than the government can do with it, and then you can just simply get it to them at the end of the year?
Well, I mean, it doesn't seem like the government's spending our money wisely right now. If you look at the trillions of dollars we are in debt, I mean, I'm a debt-free kind of guy, so
it's incredible. So because of that, they can't wait to get their hands on our money, and they will literally.
So they can make interest payments.
So I understand if it's optional.
They're making interest payments with our money, just so you know.
Exactly, and I'd get it. I'd get it if it was optional to send them those quarterly payments, and basically front them the taxes.
Right.
If that was an optional thing, some people might even like it because they get it out of the way, and then that final tax bill at the end of the year is not as ugly.
Right.
But to make it to where you actually get penalized if you don't do it is really an overreach on our government's part.
They do it, and I think one of the things that people don't realize, though, is if you're renting right now, or even if you're looking at investment properties right now, because this is Real Estate Exposed with Dan and Todd, we're talking about the benefits of owning real estate and taxes. So, I mean, is there a benefit?
Well, there's certainly benefits, but if you're going to actually buy a house, okay, we're talking about buying a house, so say you got with that. Go ahead.
We were going to talk about the fact that back in the day when I used to sue my other realtors, they would just print out what was in my price range.
Yeah.
And you were talking about, sorry, we went on a tax rant. We didn't mean to do that. But I mean, isn't that the way they do it? I mean, isn't that just see, here's my price range and here's everything available in my price range.
That is exactly how people do it. And just like I said, going into break, if that's literally all you're getting out of your agent, this is coming from somebody who, by the way, does not discount. But you only discount in the absence of other value. So if you are not providing value beyond your ability to discount, then at that point, if you're hiring one of these people, at that point, then I'd expect it. I warn you that value will be far less, far worse, and not nearly as good for you as somebody that would actually be able to negotiate to the best terms, drum up the absolute best, or drum up inventory that's not available to the public like we discussed. But yeah, like I said, Todd, I'd have that guy just pop me in an Uber and tell me what to go look at. That's all he's doing.
But here's a question. If I'm working with a buyer specialist and you just said you don't discount, so let's just talk, am I getting a good deal? Because you don't discount. Who pays me? Who pays your buyer specialist if I buy a house?
Well, the buyer specialist is going to be actually paid by the seller.
So
okay?
It doesn't matter if I use a buyer specialist. I mean, it doesn't affect. It's not going to affect the price I'm going to get for the home if I use a buyer specialist.
Well, if you're using a buyer specialist, it will affect the price you get for the home because you'll actually get a better one typically, or you're going to buy a home that you might not have otherwise even had the ability to choose from, which is highly valuable in this low inventory market. So yeah, it would actually affect what you end up paying dramatically. As an example of that, Brian Danny on our team. Okay,
right.
He's our top performing buyer specialist, and his list to sales price ratio is a full point under the market average. What that means is that if you're buying,
you're talking weird numbers to me now. So talk to me like I'm in fifth grade.
So if you were in fifth grade and you were buying a house for, call it $1 million.
Okay.
Just to use round numbers.
Right.
Not that it would have to be $1 million home. You're typically using him as your agent. Mm-hmm. You're going to save roughly $50,000 off the price. While if you were working with a different agent, you might save $30,000 off the price.
Why?
Okay. Why? Because that's just what his negotiating track record looks like. I mean, that's something you could actually prove factually just by looking at his sales record. So yeah, it's going to affect what you get if you're actually working with someone who specializes in what you do rather than not. Put it this way. If you think it's normal to go to the doctor's office and have your doctor open the door for you, weigh you, check you in, fill out the registration form, run over to the back room, right, between helping you and other patients and do, stock boxes and then grab a broom and start sweeping the floor and then come back and diagnose you. If that's normal to you.
That's not normal to me.
Okay. Well, that's what it looks like for most people out there that are not working with a specialist, with a team that have specialists in every realm of their business. Okay. So that's what we're talking about when we're talking about working with a buyer specialist or a listing specialist or a team that has specialists also in the back office programs that need to happen. This is Real Estate Exposed with Dan Beer and Todd Pianin, News Radio 600 KOGO. We're going to be right back and jump into what you should know if you are thinking of buying a home. The top 3 questions you need to ask yourself. Good morning to you. We are live here in studio on Real Estate Exposed with Dan Beer and Todd Pianin, and we're going to jump right in to a segment right here on News Radio 600 KOGO that we want you to call in live. We are here. The number is 800-600-KOGO. You can also connect with us off air at 858-375-2020. That number is good all week, so I'm going to give it again. It is 858-375-2020.
It's live. I mean, that number's available 24/7.
That number's available all the time. You get your questions answered, or if you want to
mortgage questions, real estate questions,
or if you need a good referral to anybody, in the financial world, just go ahead and give us a phone call.
Instead of you introducing this segment, I'm just going to ask the question, Dan. Why am I buying a home right now?
Yeah, so that is the big question, right? So we talk a lot about buying and selling, et cetera, and people out there. What we've started noticing is, especially in this kind of environment where everyone's talking about real estate, everyone's wanting a home, everyone's moving, the general dynamics right now in the marketplace are very solid. People start talking about buying a home.
Right.
But truly, there's 3 questions. Okay, and we're going to discuss those 3 questions right now. There are 3 questions that you want to ask yourself before you decide to buy.
So hit me with what's question number 1, Dan?
Question number 1 is the most important one, and it's the most basic, it's the most elementary. It gets away from the numbers and the statistics and the inventory levels, and it throws all that out the window and just simply ask yourself, as simple as it's going to sound, why am I buying a home? Okay? Why are you thinking of buying a home? As simple as that question might sound, it needs to be answered. Is it because you need more space? Is it because your family needs a change? Is it because of school-related issues for your children? Or is it because that's what you think you should be doing because you have some money sitting in the bank and that's about it?
Or I need a tax deduction.
Or you just need a tax deduction, which might be a legitimate reason.
Right.
But the point here is that if you're not going into the process of buying a home with clarity on exactly why you're buying a home and using that as your true focus, using that as your real why behind the actions that you're about to take, well, that you need to get that clarity. You need to have that answer, and there's a slew of valid answers. The one answer that I personally am not comfortable with, if you were asking to work with me,
right,
is that you're simply buying, you don't know why, but you have some money burning your pocket, and burning a hole in your pocket, and everyone else seems to be buying real estate, so why shouldn't you go buy some real estate?
But that person may be thinking that values are going to go up though.
Well, they might be thinking that values are going up, but then if that's their reason and they're making an educated decision based on that reason, and they feel like they don't have a better alternative to the use of that money,
right, then
great. But we're not just advocating everyone go buy a home. When you're buying a home, you said because values are going up, that sounds like an investment, back decision for the purchase. That's fine. How much do you think they're going up? When are they going up? And what other investment options are out there for that money that you're about to put to work in a piece of real estate? And it might be the best answer, but you want to have clarity around that.
Okay, so let me ask the question, Dan. Do you think values are going to be going up?
So where are home values headed? That's
probably the next question, right?
That is the next question. Okay, so where are home values headed? And we'll be happy to share our opinion with you here, but you need to, and we'll say this with a big asterisk, big caveat, you need to get this question answered for yourself and have faith in the answer for yourself. But we will tell you we're a nationwide panel of over 100 economists, real estate experts, and investment and market strategists that were just recently polled have stated that they think we're headed in between now for this year, 2015, all the way through 2019.
Were they going down?
No. So
they're going up?
This panel of 100 experts has said that they expect appreciation this year of 4.4% nationwide
of real estate, a real estate property.
Real estate appreciation of 4.4% nationwide in 2015. That the cumulative appreciation will be 19.3% by 2019.
Wow.
And 2019 sounds like, the age of the future with robots and flying saucers, but it's unbelievably 4 years away.
It's 4 years away.
Crazy.
I hate to tell you that's going to be the last installment of the Avengers comes out then. So I'm already thinking about 2019.
Is that a fact? See, I have a personal aversion to anything that involves, when it comes to movies, for me.
Right.
Anything with like wizards or people that shoot stuff out of their hand. Or like people with one big eye with some kind of special power. That's just not me.
So you weren't a nerd like me growing up on comic books and
or maybe I'm the nerd. I don't know who's the nerd. It's not but yeah. I mean, I'll raise my hand and admit I've never seen. What do you call those movies? The
Marvel movies,
The Rings, the Planet of the Rings,
Lord of the Rings,
Lord of the Rings.
Dan, don't admit that on the radio right now. There's everybody's read or watched Lord of the Rings except for you. We're going to put you in a little corner right now.
Proudly can say I've never watched a Star Wars.
What?
So I don't know. It's just something about how
there was a new trailer just came out this week for the new Star Wars
I know I'm not
movie.
making any friends right now, but that's just the truth.
Okay,
if it involves wizards and magic, it's just probably not me.
Let's get back to real estate.
Okay, so to repeat that, 19.3% appreciation is what this panelist of experts are expecting by 2019. And even the most bearish experts in this poll.
Bearish. What does bearish mean?
Just even the experts with the lowest expectations, the most conservative of the bunch that were surveyed, still projected cumulative appreciation.
The negative people.
The most negative predictions from this group of people still came in at over 11.7% appreciation by 2019. So that might be, there's different ways to interpret that data. Is that good? It's only good if you don't believe you have another investment opportunity that'll earn you more. Or if you do believe you have, or if you believe this is your best route, then great. But the point is you have to answer that question. Where do you think home values are headed? And why are you buying to begin with? Those are the first two questions that need to be answered.
But if I'm buying for my family and I'm buying for my house, I mean, it's great news that you're telling me that values are going to go up. And these economists are all saying that values are going to go up. But, I mean, does it matter? I mean, I guess the next question I would ask is, can I afford it?
So if you could afford it is going to be that third question. And really it's that plays into the third question, which is where are mortgage rates headed? Okay, so here's like an interesting way to look at that, for example. So I was living in a townhome in Hillcrest. My wife was pregnant. We were very comfortable in our place. We loved it. We'd walk to the restaurants and the shops, and we just really were enjoying our life there.
Right.
But she was pregnant.
So
and we knew
here comes the why.
Here comes the why, right? And we knew that we were going to eventually make a change. And then we started thinking about interest rates.
Right.
Okay. We thought about where do we think values are headed. We thought they were headed up. And then what are interest rates going to do? We think they're headed up. Now, whether it's this month, this year, end of year, next, they're going to head up. That's the one thing I can say with certainty.
Right.
And we knew that in the long term, we were going to make a move from where we were. So we decided to buy a house in a suburb that matched the lifestyle we wanted for our next step in life.
Right.
For when our son came around, who's now 10 months old. And we wanted, primarily from a financial standpoint, what we wanted to do was lock in that interest rate, today's interest rate, for what we thought we would want to do over the course of the next 10, 15, 20 years of our life. We made that decision now, but it was always backed by question number one, which is why are you buying?
Which makes a lot of sense.
Right?
Yeah. And I mean, and people don't realize, Dan, that when interest rates start to move, even they move a quarter point or a half point, it greatly changes what they can afford. And, I mean, like you said, we do know that interest rates are going to be going up, and that, we don't know if they're going to go up this year, next year, whatever, but we do know it's coming. And what you can afford today on a monthly basis is going to be different than what you can afford tomorrow.
And for that reason is why we preemptively made that move. That's exactly right. Guys, we'd love to discuss this further with you off air. This is Dan Beer and Todd Pianin. You can call us at 858-375-2020. You can connect with us all week long. You've been listening to Real Estate Exposed on News Radio 600, KOGO, iHeartRadio. Have a beautiful week.